You've probably seen it before. A huge parking lot with hundreds of empty spaces stretching as far as the eye can see. Yet somehow, someone decided it needed to be even bigger. At first, it feels like a waste of space. But what if those giant parking lots aren't accidents at all? What if they're the result of decades of laws, history, economics, and one very American way of life? The answer is hiding in plain sight. To uncover why parking lots are so massive in America, we first have to look at how the country was built around the automobile. Before cars became common, most American towns were designed for walking, bicycles, and trains. Stores, homes, and workplaces were packed close together because people traveled on foot or by streetcar. But after World War II, everything changed. Car ownership exploded. New highways connected cities, suburbs spread farther from downtown, and families moved into neighborhoods where driving wasn't just convenient, it was necessary. As cities expanded outward instead of upward, land became plentiful, and businesses had one big question to answer. Where is everyone going to park? That simple question shaped American cities in ways most people never notice. Now let's uncover the surprising reasons why American parking lots became so enormous. Firstly, minimum parking requirements. Here's something most people never think about. Many parking lots aren't as big as businesses want them to be. They're as big as the law says they have to be. For decades, many cities required developers to build a minimum number of parking spaces based on the size and type of their building. A shopping center, restaurant, office, or movie theater all had formulas determining how many spaces they needed. The problem? These rules often overestimated demand. A store might only fill every parking space during Black Friday or the holiday season, but it still had to build enough parking for those rare peak days. The rest of the year, much of that space sits empty. Another reason, low cost of asphalt. If you had to park hundreds of cars, would you build an expensive parking garage or simply pave an empty field? For many developers, the answer is obvious. Surface parking lots are far cheaper than multi-story garages or underground parking. Building upward requires steel, concrete, elevators, ventilation systems, and ongoing maintenance. A flat asphalt lot costs far less and can often be built much faster. When the cheaper option also satisfies local parking laws, it's no surprise which one wins. Thirdly, abundant land. America is a very large country, and many of its suburbs grew when land outside cities was relatively inexpensive. Instead of squeezing buildings together like many older European cities, developers had room to spread out. Large stores, shopping malls, restaurants, and supermarkets could all sit in the middle of vast parking lots. Think of it like laying out furniture in a huge empty room instead of a tiny apartment. When space isn't scarce, people naturally use more of it. That pattern became the standard, and over time, giant parking lots simply became normal. Another reason, car-centric culture. In many parts of America, driving isn't just one option, it's the only practical one. Public transportation is limited in countless suburbs and smaller cities. Walking long distances isn't always realistic, and cycling infrastructure can be limited as well. That means nearly every customer, employee, or visitor arrives in their own car. Imagine a supermarket with 500 shoppers. If almost every shopper brings a separate vehicle, that's hundreds of parking spaces needed at the same time. The design of the parking lot reflects the way people travel. Finally, peak event planning. Parking lots aren't designed for an average Tuesday afternoon. They're designed for the busiest day of the entire year. Shopping centers prepare for holiday crowds, stadiums prepare for sold-out games, convention centers prepare for major events, even some grocery stores prepare for Thanksgiving rushes. It's similar to building an umbrella for the biggest storm instead of the average rainy day. The result is a parking lot that may only be completely full a handful of times each year. On most days, it looks far larger than necessary, but that's exactly how it was intended to work. So, why are parking lots so massive in America? It's not because planners simply guessed wrong. It's the result of minimum parking laws, inexpensive asphalt, abundant suburban land, a society built around driving, and parking lots designed for the busiest days instead of ordinary ones. What seems like empty space is actually the product of decades of decisions about transportation, city planning, economics, and lifestyle. So in the end, this was never random. That ordinary sea of asphalt turns out to tell the story of how an entire nation chose to move. The next time you pull into a giant parking lot with rows of empty spaces, you'll know you're looking at much more than a place to leave your car. You're looking at the legacy of America's car-centered history. If you enjoyed uncovering the hidden story behind something you see every day, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the Curiosity Network, where simple questions lead to fascinating answers. Because curiosity is everywhere, you just have to know where to look.